Welcome everybody to another episode of Platt's Poetry Podcast, and of course this is Platt's Portrait, where we get to see the behind the scenes, the upfront scenes, everything that goes on in the background. In last week's episode we discussed ways in which you can compliment a woman without saying the word beautiful. Now we're going to run through and talk about expressing how you feel about a woman through an ancient tactic known as the love letter. Now, do not fool yourself now, thinking that because something masquerades as a letter, that it isn't a poem. Perhaps love letters are the greatest of poems, written with the freeness of continuous prose, but linked by the juices of poetic memory. Even the simplest of love letters contain poetry. Dear Martha, my love, I was walking by the old creek this morning and remembered how we met each other so many years ago. I was rushing down the creek in my wooden boat when it snapped in two. A slave to the rapids, I was stuck in the river. Death was sure. Yet, the hopeful side of me screamed for help. My screams must have silenced the town, as mere moments later, there you were. My Martha. You dived in after me and managed to scale the rough river with my near dead body. I was not breathing, and you moved quickly to revive me. You make jokes this day and daily about that day. But today you're in another kingdom and are unable to make fun of me, so I have decided to do it myself. You know, Martha, this was the day I almost died. The day we first met. The day you first kissed me. And the day I fell in love with you. Perhaps it was my stupidity, or the hand of God, that placed me in your arms, but I am glad to have nearly drowned. And I'd do it again and again, all because what started off as a possible end became a most beautiful beginning. Regards, Sir Author. As you can see, the simplest of love letters, storytelling, contains poetry. Which means that, my friends, where poetry and prose come together, they make the ultimate form of literature, the humble and beautiful love letter. Follow us over on Platt's Poetry on Instagram and YouTube. Spice up your life with our Twitter at Platt_13. Don't forget to follow Tyreek Art on Instagram and YouTube. Let's get on with the episode. Okay, guys? So, yeah. Let's get on with the episode. My dear friends, welcome to the body. I hope you're enjoying the background music. I don't even know what kind of background music we're using. That was for me in the future to decide. Okay, so as I said above, a love letter is a combination of prose and poetry that helps to express beauty in ways that can be described as perfect literature. But fun and jokes aside, Google defines a love poem as a letter expressing romantic love for the recipient. Some definitions outside of Google will expand this love to include friendship and friendships that have stood the test of time, and of course family that remains eternally bonded to our sides. For Platt's poetry, love letters are truly windows into how we, the writer, feels. It is much more than telling a woman how pretty she is under the moon, or how the still brown of her iris shock your eyes into lustful green. It is not about them, whoever they are. Yes, you may be writing for them, but you are really writing about yourself, your feelings, and your relationship with them. That's not to say we don't compliment, for as I said in a previous episode, or I am just saying it now, never miss an opportunity to tell a woman she is beautiful. The only rule in my charge to you is to avoid the word beautiful if you can. As you know, I hate to use the word beautiful. But why would we want to write love letters in the modern age? If the person we love is not beside us, they exist in our pockets, or a text message away, a video call, a Skype chat, a Zoom meeting, a Google Meet. The pandemic came and communication never ceased. In fact, communication increased. Lengthy letters loaded with metaphor and simile, or lines laced in zestful zealing and most certainly contagious and cantankerous alliteration, are no longer in need. And you say good night and good morning every day with a text, with a phone screen. Love letters have existed for centuries. Its purpose was always to communicate over long distances to people who we loved most. In war times, where soldiers would be fighting on the front lines, they would pen letters to their lovers at home, expressing to them a desire, their love, their hope for the little boy Johnny. Perhaps after the war, perhaps in the rebuilding of the great European nations, as they say, a young lady is off to work in the UK as a secretary, while her husband tends to the children and the farms in Jamaica. But with the creation of social media, well after the war period, and after this great recreation, this great rebuilding, out of the ashes of the old world came social media, a new fast means of communication. What purpose does the love letter serve when its contents can be easily texted? Why write a love letter? Because love letters do not care for distance. She may lay beside you at night. Before leaving for work, you pen her a letter of how satisfied you were with the activities of your night. It does not matter that she is from Belgium and you Trinidad. Write her that letter and scan it, email it, send it in the post, but by all means write it. Love letters, like writing, are a record of history, but not just any history. The unique one that is your relationship. We write love letters because we can, because touching words is sometimes more powerful than reading them from a computer screen. Imagine her reading the line, "My lips wish to kiss you in passion, no less than how the sun has left hickeys across earth." Again, I say, imagine her reading the line, "My lips wish to kiss you in a passion, no less than how the sun has left hickeys across, no less than how the sun in zeal, in eager, in the sun, no less than how the sun has left hickeys across earth." While the sun is holding it in her hand, while in the sun, she's reading this while in the sun, holding it in her hand, being burnt by its rays, because the hickeys earth leaves across earth are because of its rays, its heat. That's the passion that is within your lips, the heat of the sun, and she's reading it in the sun. The feeling then transcends paper. That's why we write love letters. We write them because the feelings transcend the page. And of course, we write love letters because it is an action done by the few. Thanks to the new age, the new era, the art of love letters is dying. And only the few cling to it like oxygen to a man drowning in a sea of his own regret. And we do not follow the mass. We chart our own path and we act in the few. But while it is very good to understand that a love letter is an expression of your feelings and your feelings alone through prose and literature, well, it is important to understand that we write love letters because we can, because it is the transcension or the movement of feelings from the page into the heart directly, and that we write them because we want to be unique and different, because we don't wish to follow. How exactly on earth do we write a love letter? Of course, the traditional route is to write it with your hands on parchment. Now, of course, one could type their letters, which I do recommend for people who cannot spell like I, or those who can't check their grammar, their own grammar. You see, the basic rule is that your love letter needs to be without distractions. And by distractions, I mean bad spelling, bad vocabulary, and bad grammar. Writing it with your hand or with a keyboard. Either way requires key focus and attention to these three simple things: spelling, vocabulary, and grammar. Pay attention to those pesky homonyms, homographs, and homophones. Make sure you don't put a dash where there is need for a colon. Do not put a full stop where a comma should be. Run-on sentences and dangling modifiers do not belong in your phrases. Do not be afraid to put short, dead lines followed by long-winded expressions of love, but forever and always maintain grammatical structure. If you are to combine two long sentences, conjunctions are your friends. But if you wish to use a semicolon, then I am okay. Do not be afraid to check the spelling of cologne. Do not spell colon by accident. Do not be afraid to check the spelling of photosynthesis, or education, or cup. Do not be afraid to check the spelling of rat, bat, sat. Do not be afraid. Check the spelling, because if the spelling is wrong, then the reading will be wrong and the feeling will be wrong, and what you are trying to create will be gone. Vocabulary is important because you do not want to be using the same words over and over again. You do not want to have to constantly say red. You can say crimson, you can say chilled pepper, you can say burnt orange. But you don't want to keep saying red lips, red tape, red. Unless you are using the game of repetition, vocabulary is your friend. Make your words as broad as the dictionary, but make sure you keep in mind the vocabulary of your reader. You do not want them to stop reading to then go off to search for new words, of course, unless it is that they like that sort of thing. Make the intent of the letter clear, or weave a mystery as to its purpose, only revealing it at the end. This is dependent on what style you prefer and what your reader adores. Of course, all I have given you are the basics. Now you must understand more. If you're doing it my way, if you're going to write a love letter the way I write love letters, the letter is not about them, as I've said. It's about you. Avoid mentioning them. Sorry. Only your feelings for her. And if you mention her and any of her features, then make it so that these features relate to something about you and your feelings. Being selfish and allowing only you to hug. In being selfish and allowing only you to hug the paper, you will find that it is still about them. This is going to be a paradox. This following statement is going to be a paradox, so listen carefully. Compliment them always, flatter them, but keep it about you and your feelings. Do not just say your smile dims the sun. Do not just say your smile dims the sun. Say that their smile lights the candle in your tapering heart, boiling it into a steady beat. In poetry, you may gladly throw compliments at the wall, but a love letter is not just poetry. No compliments are to be flung on the walls as beautiful decoration. Give the decoration a pattern and form. Give it design. That brings us to our last point, if you're writing a love letter like I do. Always returning to the original idea. In the introduction, the story was about drowning and being saved. And the letter ends by saying he'd do it again if it meant being saved by her. Do not complicate the letter. It is not a poem where you hide 1,000 truths. It is a love letter. The only truth is that you love her, you love them. And that is the truth that you wish to splash on the page without shame. This is my way of writing love letters. But in researching this episode, I saw thousands of ways to write love letters and thousands of ways. And these thousands of ways are probably just as effective, more effective, or less effective than my method. The important thing is that you love someone enough to want to write them a love letter. And as a lover of love, I was able to offer some assistance. Now, of course, we said we're sharing 3 poems an episode. Well, in this case, we're going to be sharing 3 love letters today, huh? So, we're going to share... I don't write love letters often, because, one needs to be in love to write those things. But you see, I've accidentally fallen in love. And these are her love letters. Of course, you must take away from you will. Alright? June... Oh, I don't need dates, but it's good to add dates. To indent if you so desire. But here it goes. Okay? The first love letter. To my queen. There are but a few instances that can make the heart of man stop. For the heart is so designed that it shouldn't ever stop. Once upon a time I thought poets were madmen, never understood the science of the heart. Some of these poets would casually utter phrases like, "When she is near, time freezes, and my heart halts its dance to infinity to admire her never-ending beauty." As mad as poets tend to be, their descriptions, while eloquent, rarely match reality. There are but a few instances that can make the heart of man stop. Science does not allow it. You have managed to stop my heart more times than I can count on both hands. I wrote a poem every time you stopped my heart. Every time my mind was flooded with dopamine and at the thought of you. And every time my spirit would leap from my body in excitement just to be near you. Well, no 2 poems were the same. Through you, I learnt that these poets were not insane, but captured by the roses and violets of love. This, however, is not a love letter like the ones written in the 17th century. This letter's purpose is to wish you the happiest of birthdays. The previous paragraph is but the confession I wish I had given you instead of the barbaric one forced out of me by my friend's tomfoolery. The previous paragraph also serves as my justification for planning your birthday gift 6 months before your actual birthday. I always said to you that I was being nice, but truly my reasoning was much deeper. The truth is, my heart stopped for you. My mind went on a high thinking about you, and my spirit struggled to hide our affection for you, so we planned your birthday gifts to distract ourselves. I wish the happiest of birthdays to you, my queen. May no tears touch your face, and let only joy dance through you. Let all stand in awe of your effortless grace. Okay, so let's go back to our rules. Our rules were simple. Hide the purpose of the letter until the end. The purpose of the letter was hidden until the end. The purpose of the letter was to tell this woman happy birthday. And we did it. It was a mystery. Why was you writing this? We get all this, and then, expressing our feelings. Our feelings are simple. Our heart was stopped by her, and it caused us great to pause. It brought us understanding of poets. I've written this love letter, and this love letter makes it very clear not to say I love you. Actually, none of the love letters say I love you, because it is obvious that you love this person. You have written them a love letter. Your job here is to find a way to say I love you without saying I love you. Of course, you could always confess it, huh? You can confess it outright. But that is what it alludes to. The poet is confessing that he loves this woman, but he's saying it, the writer is saying it in a manner where he's saying that you've stopped my heart. You see, that is beauty. That is prose and beauty. The anecdotal story, the abstract story about the scientific nature of the heart and its inability to be stopped. And then the man is saying, you've stopped my heart. My dear, you have stopped my heart. My dear, you have stopped my heart. You know how hard it is to stop a heart. Clearly, it is an hyperbole for slowing up the heart. So the writer, I expressed love without saying I love you. It's clear. And I kept the theme of the poem. I kept it to one thing, because there's no truth I'm hiding here. And we kept it to telling the person in the end that it was them that we wished to tell happy birthday, right? And every compliment linked back to my feelings. It didn't link back to her feelings. It didn't link back to how she felt. It's not about how she feels. It's about what's in this letter. This letter is about how you feel. It's not about how she feels. It's about how you feel. It's not about how they feel. It's about how you feel. That is the important thing you need to get into your head when you're writing a love letter. Because many times you'll be writing love letters to people that don't even love you. And that, well, love you the way you wish them to. And that is, in true, what you must understand. Love letters are about you, not them. Okay? So, then, the next love letter takes a different approach to our instructions. And you will see how and why. Okay? To my queen. There are thousands of ways a man may express their love for a woman. Some men are slaves to grand gestures like long vacations and extravagant gifts during the holiday season. Some men are shackled to rocks of discreet, minute, missable actions that go unnoticed to many except their one true love. Some are accidental romantics. They do not try to send flowers or write love letters, but in their own way, they present to their love their feelings in a more than perfect but less than sane manner. Then there are men like me who do hang themselves on any form of expression as long as the impact is seen in my love's screen in a way that ignites the static nature of my heart into a symphony bereft of pause. And I do this through details. Let us go again. There are men like me who hang themselves on any form of expression as long as the impact is seen on my love screen in a way that ignites the static nature of my heart into a symphony bereft of pause. And I do this through details. I've studied you like you are the dissertation I must defend for my PhD in love. I know small things like the sound of your voice at different hours throughout the day, different moods that plague you, and of course, if you're sick, your voice sings a different pitch. I know small things like the shape of your lips when you're hungry, and the width of your smile, the width of your smile required to drown your eyes in the deep sea melanin that garnishes your face. I know small things like your interest in music, candy, art, and show business, and I know you don't care much for poetry outside of my own. I know these little things and other smaller things about you as that I may love you correctly and passionately without hesitation or worry about getting the big things wrong. I express my feelings for you frequently in the things that I do, but using small things about you to pamper, by using small things about you to pamper and spoil you. But if I were to use words to express my feelings for you, I would again draw for small things. In my thesis on you, the opening line reads, "The girl whom I would split electrons for." This needs no explanation or addition. What it needs is a root. What it needs is a reason to be special. Electrons are fundamental particles, the smallest particles in physics that can be observed. They cannot be split. Yet I would die trying to split them for you, all to find more details to love you with. Regards, Platt's Poetry. This poem does not once mention her again. It's about me. It's not about her. It's about me. I have studied you like you are the dissertation I must defend for my PhD in love. Other lines like in my thesis on you, the opening line reads, "The girl whom I must split electrons for." It's a poem about my feelings. Well, it does it differently than the last poem. The last poem was telling her happy birthday. The last poem was expressing that his heart has stopped. This poem is expressing instead a man of action. A man that is very actionable. That is trying his best to write how he feels right now. And this writing of how he feels requires him to examine the fact that he uses details to love her. And if he was to sum up how he feels in words, he would say he would be looking for more details. He would be splitting electrons. So again, my lovely friend, to write to write a love letter like the way we write love letters. It's about you. Flatter her always. I flatter her greatly in this poem, in this love letter. Not because of my attentiveness to her voice. I told you that her voice changes, but I am telling you this because it is a detail of which I use to love her. You know, and while you're complimenting her, you're linking it back to you. I do not complicate the letter. I keep it simple. It is all about details. Okay, so now let's go to the last love letter. Now, while letters are prose and poetry coming together, sometimes you just want to write a poem. But I don't write love poems, so this is a love letter. Here we have some water first, a bit parched. To my queen. Roses are red, violets are blue. This is an old poem, like the friendship. This is an old poem. Sorry, there should have been an edit there. That wasn't on the copy. Okay, we will start again. These things happen. Let's go again. To my queen. Roses are red, violets are blue. This is an old poem, never to be lost, like the friendship that lives between us two. It started off as a crush lighting the halls of my dead campus. And then an intense light of lust came and distorted my mind from innocent focus. Soon outside, I found much more than a body to be admired. And imagine nude. Imagine nude. I found a heart of gold, a mind of great substance, and a spirit of divine grace. I found a personality so beautiful that I am forced to use the word beautiful. I never use the word beautiful. It is too hard to spell, never captures the truth, and leaves too much to the imagination. But your personality is not easy to spell into poetic wells. It is hard to capture the truth of something so versatile. It is nearly impossible, or perhaps it is impossible to imagine a personality like yours. You are perfect, but one of a kind. I first approached you. You are imperfect. Reading wrong. You are imperfect, but one of a kind. I first approached you because of your body. Melanin that oozed an aura of sexy. And then I met you. I fell in love with everything else about you and realized I never wanted to lose you, my dear friend. Roses are red, violets are blue. While I wanted more, it is an honor to have a platonic dance with you. And may it live in an eternal encore. Regards, Platt's Poetry. See guys? Love letters do not need to be drab. I don't need to explain this one. I used all the techniques I used before. But remember, we used the word beautiful here. And we explained why we used the word beautiful, because we do not want to use the word beautiful. Alright, guys. Remember, stay loving, stay writing. See you in the end section. Oh gosh. This is future me. I edited the letter, last letter. It ends now, and may it live in an eternal encore like roses and violets do. Never be afraid to make changes, my friends. Okay, off to the end section. We have come to the end of another lovely episode over here at Platt's Poetry Podcast. This has been Platt's Portrait, and you know what we do at the end of each episode is that we do some shameless promotion. So remember to follow us over on Instagram at Platt's Poetry, and we'll also subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're over at the YouTube channel. Also, my dear friend, I do hope that you are having a wonderful day, a wonderful time. This episode, according to my schedule, is to be released on, let me check, August 24th. I will record the episode for August 31st when I am settled overseas. But I've so far recorded all the episodes I need to record while I'm in Jamaica to make my transition a bit easier. Of course, when I return, I'll be bulk recording again, because I'll start recording the next batch of episodes around August 17th, when you should be seeing Note Beautiful. This episode is about love letters, and I do love a good love letter, man. I've written a love poem, but I've written love letters and love poems, and nothing is as beautiful as a love letter. My dear friends, I do hope you have a wonderful day. And last week I told you to tell her she's beautiful without saying that she's beautiful. This week I want you to write her a love letter, and make it the most beautiful love letter you've ever written. If you write it with hand or with a keyboard, make it perfection, because you only write those things once in a lifetime these days. Anyways, goodbye. See you next week when we talk about self-awareness through the mind, heart, and the spirit. Mind, heart, and spirit make it man. Bye, people.